Have you ever felt trapped trying to change everything around you, even after so many years of life? At 50 plus, we often think we still need to control every situation, every person, every moment. But what if I told you that true freedom begins when we stop fighting what is? In this video, we'll explore together how this shift in perspective can transform your life, bringing more peace, lightness, and presence. And at the end, I want to hear from you in the comments. What area of your life do you feel you could simply let be? The burden of wanting to change everything. Throughout life, many of us carry a persistent belief that we need to fix everything around us. We feel compelled to correct the people we interact with, adjust the situations we encounter, and even reshape ourselves into the versions we think we should be. It is a weight that quietly accumulates day by day, layer by layer, often unnoticed until it becomes heavy, almost unbearable. By the time we reach our 50s and beyond, this tendency can intensify. We look back on our lives, scanning the years for regrets, missed opportunities, or moments where we think we could have done better. There is a quiet urgency, almost a panic, as if life itself is reminding us that time is finite. We start asking ourselves questions like, have I truly lived? Have I spent my time wisely? Did I do enough to change the things I could? And in the asking, we feel the pressure of what hasn't yet been fixed, the weight of what remains imperfect. Ram Dass, the spiritual teacher and guide, offers a perspective that can feel revolutionary to those of us trapped in this cycle. He reminds us that the mind has a natural tendency to cling, to grasp control, to want to shape the world according to its preferences. This grasping is not unusual, it is part of the human condition, but it is also the source of much of our suffering. Freedom, he teaches, does not come from manipulating life into alignment with our desires. True freedom comes from stepping back, observing without judgment, and recognizing the limits of what we can control. Imagine for a moment that your life is a vast river. You have been trying to redirect its flow, digging channels, building dams, and rearranging its course to match the image in your mind of what it should be. And yet, no matter how hard you try, the river persists in its own natural path. The struggle is exhausting. Ram Dass would suggest gently lowering the shovel, stepping back from the banks and allowing the river to flow as it must. Observe its twists and turns. Appreciate the beauty in its movement. In that observation, in that acceptance, there is liberation. The practice is not about passivity or surrender in the face of life. It is about discerning what truly belongs to us, to influence, and what does not. You cannot fully change another person's heart or erase the past. You cannot control every circumstance or force the world to meet your expectations. But you can influence your own perception. You can choose how you respond to what unfolds. You can nurture your attention, redirect your energy, and cultivate the space in which peace can grow. This shift in perspective can feel subtle at first. Instead of constantly evaluating what needs correction, begin to notice what arises in your awareness. Thoughts, emotions, judgments, they all appear like clouds passing through a wide, open sky. Do not push them away. Do not chase them. Simply notice, acknowledge their presence, and allow them to dissolve naturally. The act of observing without clinging, without resistance, begins to loosen the grip of your mental striving. It is here, in this spacious awareness, that the weight of wanting to change everything begins to lift. Acceptance does not mean resignation. It is a conscious engagement with life that allows the present moment to be exactly as it is. By accepting what cannot be changed, we free ourselves to act with clarity where we truly have influence, our thoughts, our intentions, our choices. With each passing day, we practice returning to this simple truth. Our peace is not dependent on reshaping the world, but on cultivating presence within ourselves. As we grow older, the invitation becomes clearer. Life is impermanent. Time moves forward regardless of our insistence or effort. The more we struggle to control, the heavier our burden. Yet when we learn to soften, to release, and to observe without judgment, we open the door to a different way of being, a lighter way, a freer way, one in which peace is not a distant goal, but a constant companion. So today, let us take a moment to notice the places where we are still trying to fix, to correct, to control. Breathe. Feel the weight of those efforts, and gently, with kindness, allow them to rest. Focus instead on your own heart, your own awareness, the only place where true transformation can take root. In the teachings of Ram Dass, we find the reminder that freedom is always within reach, not in changing everything, but in changing our relationship with what is. And perhaps, in this practice of letting go, we discover something profound, that life, in all its imperfection and mystery, can be enough, that the river, flowing as it will, carries us forward in grace. And that at last, peace is not found by bending the world to our will, but by learning to float gently in the current of our own awareness. Have you ever felt that life just isn't going the way you planned? That no matter how hard you try, circumstances, people, and even your own mind seem to resist your best intentions? This feeling of struggle, this tension between what we want and what is at the heart of a very subtle yet profound truth, the illusion of control. From the moment we are born, we are taught to believe that control is power. We are told to set goals, to plan, to strive, to fix, and to achieve. And in many ways, this is necessary. It helps us survive. It helps us navigate the practicalities of life. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. The act of controlling, of trying to bend the world to our will, becomes not just a habit, but a heavy burden. The more we attempt to control life, the more we encounter resistance. The child throws a tantrum, the colleague disappoints, the relationship falters, the body ages, and the world continues to change, indifferent to our desires. And each time this happens, frustration rises, stress mounts. We might feel exhausted, both physically and emotionally, from the constant struggle. It is as if we are trying to swim upstream against a current that is far stronger than our own will. Ram Dass, a spiritual teacher and guide, offers a remarkable insight that can change this pattern entirely. He said, "It's not about renouncing action, but about renouncing the need to control the outcome." Notice the distinction. We are not being asked to stop living, to stop caring, or to stop making choices. Action itself is not the enemy. It is the need to control results, to demand that life unfold according to our exact desires, that traps us in suffering. When we cling to control, we close ourselves off from the present moment. We are constantly projecting into the future, trying to fix what has not yet happened, or revisiting the past, wishing it had been different. Our attention is split, fragmented, always resisting what is, and rarely embracing what is. And in doing so, we miss the richness and beauty of life as it unfolds. But when we begin to loosen the grip on control, a remarkable thing happens. There is space. Space for creativity to arise, because we are no longer trapped in a rigid framework of expectations. Space for joy to emerge, because we are no longer insisting that life must conform to our desires. And space for presence, the deep, abiding awareness of the now, which is the true gift of living. This doesn't mean that life becomes passive or indifferent. We still act, we still make choices. But our actions come from a place of openness, not from a place of desperation or fear. We act, but we do not demand. We strive, but we do not clutch. And in this release, we find a freedom that is rare, profound, and deeply nourishing to the soul. Imagine for a moment letting go of the idea that you must control every outcome. Imagine approaching life with curiosity rather than expectation. Imagine acting in harmony with what is, rather than in constant resistance to it. This is not giving up. This is awakening. This is stepping into a life that is alive, vibrant, and deeply interconnected with the flow of existence. When we release control, we also release the heavy weight of judgment. We stop labeling events as good or bad, as right or wrong. We begin to see life as a teacher, offering lessons, opportunities, and experiences rather than obstacles to overcome. Even failure, disappointment, or pain transforms into a doorway, an invitation to grow, to understand, and to deepen our awareness. Ram Dass often reminded us that life is not about achieving perfection, but about embracing presence. He spoke of love, of surrender, and of the gentle power of letting go. By relinquishing the need to control, we cultivate a different kind of strength. It is the strength of flexibility, of patience, and of deep inner calm. It is the strength that allows us to flow with life rather than against it. So, how do we begin this practice? Start by noticing. Notice the areas of your life where the need to control is strongest. Observe the tension it creates in your body, in your mind, in your relationships. Then gently begin to release. Release the demand for certainty. Release the expectation that things must happen in a certain way. And each time you let go, even just a little, you step closer to freedom. In this freedom, you may find a joy you have forgotten. You may find a lightness of being that was hidden beneath layers of striving. You may find that life, with all its unpredictability and mystery, is not a problem to solve, but a dance to participate in. A dance in which every step, every pause, every breath is a gift. The illusion of control is powerful, but it is not unbreakable. By choosing awareness over resistance, presence over expectation, and surrender over grasping, we open ourselves to the full richness of life. And in this openness, we discover that real power does not lie in controlling the world, but in embracing it exactly as it is. So today, let go of the need to control. Breathe, observe, step into the flow of life with curiosity, grace, and courage. Act, but do not clutch. Love, but do not demand. And in doing so, you will find a freedom that is boundless, a peace that is deep, and a life that is luminous with the light of presence. Finding freedom through acceptance. Acceptance is often misunderstood. Many believe that to accept life as it is means to give up, to agree with everything, or to passively surrender to circumstances. But true acceptance is far from passivity. It is the art of recognizing reality without resistance, of opening your heart and mind to the present moment, and allowing life to unfold without the constant struggle to control it. When we stop fighting what cannot be changed, we free ourselves from unnecessary suffering and gain the clarity to focus on our own growth and evolution. Ram Dass often reminds us that the mind tends to cling to what we want, what we fear, or what we believe should be different. This clinging creates tension, frustration, and often deep exhaustion. But when we practice acceptance, we step out of the endless tug-of-war with life. We begin to see that the moment we resist is the moment we create suffering, and the moment we allow, we create space for peace. A simple yet profound way to cultivate acceptance is through conscious breathing. By slowing down and focusing on the breath, we anchor ourselves in the present moment. The breath becomes a reminder that life is happening right here, right now, and that the past, with its regrets, and the future, with its uncertainties, are not as urgent as we often make them out to be. Even a few minutes of mindful breathing each day can shift our perspective, easing the grip of tension and inviting a gentle clarity into our awareness. Another powerful practice is observing our thoughts without judgment. Ram Dass teaches that we are not our thoughts and that they are constantly arising and dissolving like clouds in the sky. When we watch them without labeling them as good or bad, without trying to change them, we cultivate a form of freedom that is both subtle and profound. Thoughts come and go, but the awareness that observes them is steady, unshakable, and always present. In this awareness, we discover a spaciousness that allows us to respond rather than react, to choose rather than be driven by impulse or fear. Gratitude, too, plays a crucial role in acceptance. By noticing the small gifts of life, the warmth of the sun on our skin, the sound of birds in the morning, a simple meal shared with a loved one, we cultivate a heart that is open and content. Gratitude does not deny difficulty or pain. Rather, it illuminates the richness of life that exists even amidst challenges. When we practice gratitude daily, we train ourselves to see the fullness of life rather than being consumed by what we lack or what we wish were different. Acceptance also requires compassion, especially toward ourselves. Ram Dass encourages us to recognize our own humanity, to acknowledge that we are imperfect beings learning as we go. Self-criticism, judgment, and shame are heavy burdens, and acceptance invites us to set them down. When we accept ourselves, flaws and all, we unlock an inner freedom that radiates outward into every interaction and experience. Living in acceptance does not mean that we stop striving or stop caring about improvement. It simply means that we no longer cling to expectations or resist what is. We act from a place of clarity and presence rather than from fear or attachment. We learn to navigate life with grace, resilience, and a deep sense of inner peace. In every challenge, there is an opportunity to practice letting go, to release the illusion of control, and to embrace life as it is. Ram Dass often reminds us that the present moment is where life truly happens. The past is a memory, the future is an imagination, but now is the living reality. When we accept the present fully, without judgment or struggle, we discover a profound freedom, a liberation from the weight of regret, fear, and anxiety. Acceptance is not resignation, it is empowerment. It is the courage to meet life with an open heart, to dance with its uncertainties, and to find joy in its impermanence. So start small. Take a deep breath and notice your body, your surroundings, your thoughts. Observe without judgment. Offer gratitude for the simple gifts around you. Practice kindness toward yourself. With each act of acceptance, you release a little more of the tension that binds you, and you step closer to the peace that has always been within. Life, in all its beauty and complexity, is happening now. By embracing it fully, we find not only freedom but a profound joy that is unshakable, a joy that exists beyond circumstance, beyond expectation, beyond control. Freedom is found not in changing the world, but in changing our relationship with it. And acceptance, as Ram Dass teaches, is the doorway to that freedom. Practicing detachment with love. Detachment is often misunderstood. Many people believe that to detach is to stop caring, to withdraw from life, or to stop loving. But the truth is quite the opposite. Detachment is about loving fully, yet without clinging to outcomes, without binding ourselves to expectations. It is about learning to experience life with an open heart, embracing the flow of existence while releasing the need to control it. Ram Dass often reminds us that love, in its purest form, is freedom. When we love without attachment, we allow both ourselves and others to grow, to be, and to simply exist. To practice detachment, we must first understand our relationship with desire and expectation. How often do we find ourselves caught in the web of, if this happens, I will be happy, or if they respond in a certain way, I will feel loved. These are not the expressions of true love or freedom. They are traps of the mind that tie our joy to conditions outside of ourselves. True detachment does not mean we do not care. It means we care deeply without insisting that the world bend to our wishes. One of the most effective ways to cultivate this mindset is through meditation. Just 5 to 10 minutes each day can begin to change the way we perceive ourselves and our attachments. Sit quietly and allow your mind to settle. Observe your thoughts as if they were clouds drifting across the sky. Notice the desires, the worries, and the attachments that arise. Acknowledge them without judgment and gently return your focus to your breath. Over time, this practice teaches us that our thoughts and feelings do not define us. They come and go, just like clouds, and our peace does not have to depend on them. Another powerful practice is reflection. Take moments to consider past situations that caused you suffering or frustration. Perhaps it was a relationship that did not unfold as you had hoped, or an event that did not go the way you wanted. Instead of holding on to regret or resentment, ask yourself what these experiences have taught you. How have they shaped your understanding of yourself, of others, and of life? By reframing our experiences as lessons rather than losses, we begin to see that our attachments often create unnecessary suffering, and that letting go can bring clarity and freedom. Visualization can also help anchor the practice of detachment. Imagine the sun setting over your worries and tensions. Picture each concern, each expectation as a gentle ripple in the water, gradually fading away with the fading light. See yourself standing in a vast open field, feeling the breeze on your skin, witnessing the beauty around you, and realizing that life, in all its unpredictability, continues to unfold perfectly even when you release the need to control it. This visualization reminds us that peace is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of acceptance and surrender. It is important to remember that detachment is not a destination, but a continuous practice. It requires patience, compassion, and a willingness to be present with the fullness of life. There will be moments when old patterns of clinging resurface, when the mind insists on trying to orchestrate outcomes. These moments are opportunities to return to awareness, to breathe, and to remind ourselves that love and attachment are not the same. The more we practice, the more natural it becomes to engage with life fully, with an open heart, and without fear of loss or disappointment. Ram Dass teaches us that the essence of spiritual growth is in this balance, loving wholeheartedly while staying unattached to results. By doing so, we experience a deeper joy, one that does not rely on circumstances, one that is resilient, expansive, and liberating. When we detach with love, we allow life to flow through us, rather than trying to hold it in our hands. We begin to see that freedom is not outside of us. It has always been within us, waiting to be recognized and embraced. To integrate this practice into daily life, start small. Take moments throughout your day to pause and observe your attachments. Notice the impulses to control or cling, and instead offer yourself a gentle invitation to release. Speak to yourself with kindness and patience, remembering that detachment is a practice of love. Love for yourself, love for others, and love for life itself. Over time, you will discover that this approach transforms not only your internal experience, but also your relationships and your interactions with the world. By letting go of the constant need to manipulate outcomes, you create space for true connection, authenticity, and joy. Life becomes lighter, more vibrant, and more sacred. Detachment with love is not an escape from the world. It is a deeper immersion into it. It is the recognition that everything is impermanent, that everything is constantly evolving, and that our ability to embrace life fully comes from releasing our grip on it. By practicing detachment, we honor the present moment, cherish the people and experiences around us, and find a peace that is unshakable. So begin today. Meditate for a few minutes. Reflect on the lessons of the past. Visualize your worries dissolving in the light of a setting sun. Practice love without attachment, and notice how slowly but surely your heart begins to feel lighter, freer, and more connected to the boundless flow of life. In this space of awareness, guided by the wisdom of Ram Dass, you will find that detachment is not a loss, but the truest form of love, and that peace, joy, and freedom are not distant ideals. They are here, within your reach, in every breath, every moment, and every heart-beating instant of life. Living freedom every day. True freedom is not a sudden revelation or a dramatic change. It is a gentle unfolding, a journey of countless small conscious choices. It's discovered in the quiet moments, in the spaces between our thoughts, in the soft awareness of simply being. Freedom is not about changing everything around us or reshaping our lives overnight. It is about learning to be present, to embrace each moment with love, acceptance, and an open heart. Each breath we take, each deliberate pause, each act of kindness adds a brushstroke to the vast canvas of inner peace. As we move through life, especially after our 50s, it is easy to feel the weight of expectations, both those we place upon ourselves and those imposed by the world. We may look back at the years gone by and wonder if we have done enough, if we have lived fully, if we have made the right choices. Ram Dass gently reminds us that such reflections, while natural, are not meant to trap us in regret or self-judgment. The essence of living freely lies in releasing the need to control every outcome, in surrendering to the flow of life, and in embracing the beauty of the present moment, just as it is. Every day offers an opportunity to cultivate freedom. It begins with awareness, the simple act of noticing your breath, the sensation of your feet on the ground, the rhythm of your heartbeat. These small anchors draw us into the present, where life is alive and tangible. From this place of awareness, we can observe our thoughts without attachment, allowing them to drift by like clouds in a vast, open sky. We can witness our emotions without being overwhelmed by them, recognizing that they are transient and do not define us. This practice of conscious observation is a gateway to liberation, a way of learning to live without unnecessary suffering. Freedom is also an act of love, both for ourselves and for others. When we release the urge to control, to demand, to manipulate outcomes, we open space for genuine connection. We learn to accept people as they are, to forgive past mistakes, and to approach relationships with compassion rather than expectation. Love, in its truest form, is not about attachment or ownership. It is about presence, care, and understanding. When we embody this kind of love, life feels lighter, more expansive, and more deeply satisfying. The path to daily freedom is marked by intention. It is reflected in the choices we make, from the foods we eat, to the thoughts we nurture, to the way we speak to ourselves and others. It is seen in the rituals we create to honor our inner lives, a morning meditation, a walk in nature, a quiet reflection at the close of day. These practices are not obligations, they are invitations to step into a rhythm of life that supports awareness, peace, and joy. Over time, the repetition of these small acts transforms the way we experience the world. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. The mundane becomes sacred. Every moment carries the potential for liberation if we are awake to it. As Ram Dass often emphasized, life is fleeting. The moments slip by quickly, almost imperceptibly, like grains of sand falling through our fingers. Yet within this impermanence lies profound beauty. By learning to be present, we discover the richness of existence, the depth of human experience, and the joy that is available here and now. Freedom is not something we attain in the future. It is something we practice in the present, moment by moment. Each day, we have the chance to release what no longer serves us, to forgive, to open our hearts, and to embrace the wonder of being alive. After 50, these teachings take on even greater significance. We begin to see life with greater clarity, to appreciate its fragility and its treasures. We may no longer chase the ambitions of youth with the same intensity, but we gain the wisdom to recognize what truly matters. The small choices, the mindful pauses, the conscious acts of love, these become the pillars of a life well lived. They remind us that freedom is always within reach, not as a distant ideal, but as a lived reality accessible in every breath. So as you move through your days, remember that freedom is not a grand achievement. It is found in the quiet moments, in the gentle acceptance of life as it unfolds, and in the deliberate practice of love, presence, and awareness. Each day is a new opportunity to live more fully, to let go of what weighs you down, and to embrace the preciousness of each moment. In doing so, you create a life that is not only freer, but also richer, deeper, and infinitely more meaningful. Life, as Ram Dass reminds us, is a series of precious moments, moments to be felt, savored, and lived with open-hearted awareness. And in this mindful presence, true freedom is realized, one day at a time.